Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq, with daily insight on the Nasdaq-100 index, or the NDX, which is made up of 100 of the largest domestic and international non-financial innovative companies listed on the Nasdaq stock market. The NDX has been the barometer for U.S. large cap growth and also one of the best performing indexes over the last decade and a half, not to mention one of the most liquid index ecosystems in the world. Joining me, we have Chris Dearborn. He's the managing director on Nasdaq's market intelligence desk. And Chris, another day, another all-time high on the Nasdaq-100. It's quite remarkable.
You know, Friday's economic data was so impressive and such a reversal of what everyone was expecting. The markets, which were already doing better over the last few weeks, really was the rocket fuel that moved this market higher. The Friday move across the board, Nasdaq-100 included, was so tremendous that we're seeing significant positive follow-through again today, even though nothing significantly has changed. Again, that optimistic euphoria of states, cities, and countries reopening, the flattening of the curve, less hospitalizations, less deaths, more economic activity is leading to a tremendous move in the broader markets, and the Nasdaq-100 is at the forefront of that, making another all-time high today after Friday's all-time high.
All right, Chris, let's take a look at our first chart here. I want to see what the technicals have to say, because from a fundamental perspective, yes, it's great. We understand this is the return to work trade, but we're still not at demand levels that we saw on February 19th when we were at prior all-time highs. So are the charts showing you the same thing? Is it suggesting that we might be butting up against any resistance here?
A lot of folks have been saying, and I kind of agree, that the markets have gotten ahead of themselves here. And the Nasdaq-100 is one of those indexes that has been leading across the board. Granted, we've made another new all-time high here at 98.76, and the technicals are still very, very positive. But if you look at the relative strength index, which is the bottom of the chart, you're just starting to hit in that overbought category, which is a 70 number. Remember, RSI measures relative strength in the index. A number below 30 is telling you that you've entered an oversold condition. A number 70 and higher is indicating an overbought condition. Now, granted, we're just starting to touch this, and the move up has been tremendous. The Nasdaq, the index is up over 13% year to date. It's had a tremendous move from the 67.71 level. You're talking over 3,000 points in less than 3 months. And with that, you have the thought process that you might be stretched here a little bit. Now, the leaders, the contrast that, the leaders are starting to rotate a little bit. We were led early by tech. Again, everyone had an appetite for Microsoft, Apple, even Tesla, and a number of other companies, and some of the consumer names that make up the index, including Pepsi, Costco, Mondelez, were all big performers. Now, what you're looking at here is the rotation a little bit, and we'll get that to the next chart. So at 98.76 was the target price. We're at 98.65 right now. This has still got room to go. Can we see a 10,000 Nasdaq-100 in the near future? All things being equal, we can.
Well, Chris, let's take a look at your next chart here, because I want to discuss the rotation that we're seeing within the index. What are you looking at here?
You still see some of the same names at the top: Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, all having decent days, adding significant points. What's interesting today is that you're seeing some of the other sectors that were really beaten up, talking about airlines, talking about leisure, that really weren't the leaders here. UAL is up almost 10% today. Now, that only translates to 1.25 points in the index. That's a big move. And then you have Tesla up over 6%, adding 10 points to the index today. And the losers, the stocks that are down today, aren't really losers. Those are stocks that are just starting to give back a little bit. Again, mentioned Costco before, Intel, NVIDIA, Monster Beverage, PayPal, which had a tremendous week last week, is only giving back 0.5%. So those are the biggest losers. What you have here is, again, that rotation into other sectors and stocks that are starting to move higher, along with the continued names that keep pushing the index higher, keep moving. Remember, the Nasdaq-100 is market cap weighted, so the larger names will still carry it. But when you have the companies that have been beaten up, especially the airlines and the consumer names, start to reopen, start to have positive prospects coming through, the buyers are going to be in there for those stocks, because they have that fear of missing out in companies that have been significantly oversold due to the panic over the pandemic. And that's kind of where we're seeing here. You're going to see a number of other companies start to pick up bring in leadership to the index, and continue the march higher. Granted, we're only up 0.4% today, but it's still enough in a broader market sense. And we like to see these smaller baby steps continue higher highs, because that means that you're seeing the rotation into those secondary and tertiary sectors in this index.
All right, Chris, thanks for joining me as always.
Thank you, Jill.
All right, and thanks for joining us. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.